Hello, my name is JD and welcome to Nidiots. Today is going to be a ranking of the Jackass movies. The whole franchise. As you may have noticed, the top 10 stunts of 3ED and 3.5 have not been uploaded yet. That's actually because my laptop had crashed and I lost both videos, so I've had to reshoot them. And I haven't had a chance to reshoot it yet, but I figured I'll get these out right now and then I'm going to continue with those videos. But as of right now, let's just get straight to the ranking, eh? Alright, so we have 10 to rank on this one because I'm actually going to include an extra thing that you'll find out in a short minute. So, starting at number 10 is Jackass 2.5. Still easily my least favorite Jackass related thing, just because, one, I think it just clipped over an hour or barely clipped an hour, and it just was more like a behind the scenes than what it was actually a second half of the Jackass movies, like the other ones were, when it comes to the 0.5. So that's why you're easily at number 10. Now at number 9, we have Jackass Bad Grandpa 0.5. Once again, this was funny. It's the only one I didn't find boring at all when it comes to the rest of the Jackasses from here on. 2.5 is the only one that actually gets boring for me when I watch it. But Bad Grandpa, it's just like the bits that didn't suit the story, so that they have they cut it out and put it into 0.5. But that's why that is at number 9. Now this might throw a few of you off, but at number 8 is Bad Grandpa. Once again, it's really good. So from here on, all of them are really good. And I don't want to sound like I contradicted myself, but with where Jackass Forever is going to sit. But yeah, as Bad Grandpa stands, you got the story of him and the boy, going. It's a road trip movie. It's very similar to the style of Borat. I always describe it to people as Jackass meets Borat. And, it's actually got a very heartwarming ending, surprisingly, considering the circumstances that, it's a comedy and it's a prank movie. But it's a solid number 8. Alright, number 7. This is the part that's going to make you be like, what the fuck, I thought this was a ranking of the movies and series and stuff. Number 7 is Jackass the Game. And the reason why I'm putting this here is because there's no real other list I can actually put this on when I'm doing a Jackass list. So this is the Jackass franchise list, and this is what's counting onto it. The game, I remember getting it on PS2 when it first came out. It was amazing. Well, actually, I didn't get it. A friend of mine did. I own it now, but it's just a bunch of mini games, and I know that was a lot of people's problem with it. They already say, it's just a bunch of mini games. It's not even got a story. Well, that's kind of what Jackass is. It never has been a story. You will never go into Jackass for a story, not counting Bad Grandpa, because obviously that one's a story. And it's just a solid number 7, and personally still one of those games I still bring out and play to this day. Alright, number 6, it's the new kid on the block. It's Jackass Forever. People such as Jasper, Eric, Poopy, Zach, Rachel, I think there's one more that I'm forgetting, but I don't mean to. And then the original crew minus the involvement of Ryan Dunn and Bam Margera, not counting one little scene that he's in. It was still a solid Jackass, and I still like it. It's just because at the time my expectations were raised too high, and that's why I'm kind of down here with it. But I honestly think that after a year or two, once it's really set in, it's probably going to go higher up on my list. But Jackass Forever, you're number 6. So number 5 is Jackass 3.5. This one is still really good, and I think, honestly, if they took out the behind the scenes talking part, it could have passed as a Jackass 4, like a shoot Jackass 4. But they decided to go with the 3.5 at the docos in, which still adds to it. But honestly, that's the only thing that makes it not as high on the list. But 3.5, it belongs right where it is. Alright, top 4, we know what the obvious ones are that are here. We have the trilogy and the series. So what gets my number 4? Now, this is counting all 3 volumes and the lost tapes. I'm going to have to say number 4 is the Jackass series. You got to really give the props to it because this is where it all began. It is where Jackass, became Jackass, so to speak. I know that's stating the obvious, but Season 1, 2, and 3 are all really solid if you watch them as a season. I've mostly watched them as volumes because by the time I was watching Jackass, the first movie had only just come out, so the series had already wrapped. But, still, number 4, that's right where you belong. iconic stunts such as, you know, what do we got? The cup test, the vomlet, that's easily the best one. I think it was just called the omelette, the original one. And you know, you got the milk challenges, you got, you know, Preston dressing as a snowman, you got the Snake River jump. It's just, it's got a lot of iconic things, and it's very obvious why that became a staple in the franchise and what made this as big as it is today. And that's, without the series, you know, we wouldn't have the pop culture and the worldwide trend that was Jackass. So we have that series to thank for it. So that's why number 4. Now, everyone's top 3, like, I think everyone, the trilogy will be in their top 3 all the time. And it's a matter of what goes where, and it all depends on what mood you're in. And going by the state of mind that I'm in right now, because I'm gonna re-rank them when 4.5 comes out, and it could be different. But right now, my number 3 is Jackass the movie. And this one is easily the one I'm most nostalgic with, because it was the first one I ever saw. I remember my dad renting it on DVD, and we watched it up in his room, because his room was the only one with a DVD player, because we lived in a 2-story house at the time. And I remember just going into it thinking, what the hell is the story in this movie? I don't understand it. But as time went on, it's easily become like one of those things that I don't think I have gone a single year since 2003 without watching Jackass the movie. I'm pretty sure I've watched it at least once, maybe even twice, probably even 3 times every year ever since. It's a movie that I almost know word for word, which is weird because it's not really a dialogue-driven movie. But, you know, with stunts like the golf carts, rent-a-car crash-up derby, the tidal wave, which in my opinion is one of the most underrated stunts. It's simple, but it's effective. And, of course, the butt x-ray. Easily a perfect number 3. Alright, so number 2 and number 1. This is the part where I think a lot of people are going to hate me. Honestly, my number 2 is Jackass number 2. And I know a lot of people put this at number 1 by a landslide. And I will agree 100% that this is the most raunchiest of the Jackass and the most gnarly of the Jackasses. I would even say this is the best Jackass, but it's not my favorite. And the reason why is because it's just, I'll get into that when I talk about, you know, why that's my number 1. But for Jackass number 2, like, they went all out. Like, they went into this like it was the last movie. And I feel like they go into every movie as if it was the last movie, because it just feels like they go for broke in this one. Like, you got leeches on testicles, leeches on eyeballs, you got bed of nails, although that ended up on 0.5, so I shouldn't count that. It's just the yak, that's another one. And of course, Terror Taxi, which in my personal opinion is the greatest Jackass bit ever, hands down. But that is why you're number 2. Although I will say number 2 does have my favorite ending with The Best of Times Is Now. So Jackass number 2, you're right there at number 2. But number 1, of course, is going to be Jackass 3D, which is really funny because a lot of people, when they rank the top 3, the third is usually at number 3, and like 1 and 2 are usually fighting for the number 1 spot. But for me, it's 3D, and the reason why is because it has certain things. It was the first Jackass I ever saw at theaters, so that I have a very special nostalgia for that. It's my favorite 3D movie ever made, which is why I'm so bummed that we can't get our hands on a 3D version of the movie just for home movies, unless there's something I'm not knowing about. And, you know, just the stunts alone. I mean, the opening was fantastic. I think it's the best opening. Almost, I don't know, I personally tie the movie and 3D as the best openings. Like, they're a perfect tie, and they're just in 2 different ways. But, you know, you got the high five, you got the bungee boogie. I think that's what they called it. Anyway, it was them playing with slingshots. You know, you got the jet engine, you got the midget bar fight, you got the blue shit in the toilet. You know, the poo cocktail supreme. Honestly, the bungee boogie is actually my favorite of all of the stunts in this movie. And I don't know why, it's just because it feels like they're just hanging out. And I actually like the lightheartedness of Jackass 3D compared to the number 2, which kind of felt more darker. And 3D just caters to my personality more, right now at least, because once again, I could do this ranking again, and number 1 could be my favorite. I don't know, it all depends on what state of mind I'm in. But Jackass 3D, you get the number 1 spot. So there you go. I'm going to get out 3D and 3.5 top 10 as soon as I can. I'm sorry it's taken so long. And I'm also going to get Jackass Forever done in the top 10. But I'm actually going to go to the theaters again this weekend, and I'm going to see it again so I can get another thought on what I think of it. I probably should have done that before I done the rankings, but you know, we'll work on that on the 4.5 rankings. Anyway, I'm JD. You've been watching Idiots. JD out.